Well, thanks for staying with us on ADBN Television. It's time to get the conversation started on our newspaper review segment. And joining us to review the headline stories is the President of Nigeria Nexus, Patriot Desmond Fowobi. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be in your studio once again.
Well, good morning to you as well, Patriot Desmond. First things first. The VP has jetted out to, Davos for the 2025 World Economic Forum. Now, this is just, I believe this is the first international trip the Vice President is making this year. And what do you think Nigerians should be expecting from this? Is it just one of those mandatory meetings that the Vice President or the President has to attend, or are we looking at a more meaningful outcome from Davos when the Vice President returns to the country?
Like you rightly put it, he has went out of the country for an official duty of World Economic Summit,
Yes,
where leaders from different countries we meet and discuss about the future of the world economy. His presence and also being one of the key person that will be talking in that section is going to portray Nigeria in good light as usual to attract foreign investors and to explore numerous opportunities that that is embedded in the country that are untapped. So basically, we can say that it is a good one that the Vice President has gone out to represent us, to represent the country in that forum. And don't forget that such forum is not necessarily where you actually go to share knowledge. No.
Yeah.
It is primarily for you to make contact with investors
and attract
the trends
foreign
of
direct
the global economy,
and
attract foreign direct investment into the country.
Yeah.
And that is why you see people travel outside the shores of their land to meet leaders, global leaders in different areas of discipline or professionals. Professionalism. So going outside the country this time around, we looked at the new trend in the global economy and how it can position Nigeria strategically to tap from these changes or the dynamics of the economy of the world.
Now here it says that part of the Vice President's schedule includes a series of critical engagements, among which is a workshop organized by the African Development Bank (AFDB) in collaboration with the World Economic Forum, titled "Roadmap to Co-Create Investment Opportunities for Africa's Frontiers Markets." This is yet another sort of civil engagement that we see happening every now and then. But pinpointing down to this AFDB's event in collaboration with the World Economic Forum, are there specific outcomes that we should be looking out for?
Basically, presently, what Africa economy is trying to focus on is food security and green Africa, like sustainable energy and climate change, and as well as alternative means of generating power. So that is green energy, and as well as they now looked at agriculture is the focal point. Agriculture, because Africa in the last few decades have actually lost that birthright of being the major producer of farm produce, and today, I don't know what actually changed in the dynamics, but today Africa largely depends on food importation, Nigeria not excluded from this crisis of food insecurity. So African Development Bank had focused recently in seeing that we have more people coming to Africa to develop because of the large number of unemployment, and agriculture puts that opportunity for creating employment opportunity as well as solving the problem of food insecurity. Beyond that is the issue of renewable energy. We've been talking about renewable energy, and then there has to be some re-engineering.
Beyond just mere talk.
Yes, some people must take it as an advocacy.
Yeah.
Some people must change the perspective of business in Africa. You know, Africa used to be the dumping ground for these world economic
world economic waste.
Industrialized countries and superpowers.
Okay.
No, they usually produce something. So with this kind of forum, with this kind of way forward, they can now have a different approach to the kind of solutions, so the kind of businesses that they will be delivering in Africa. And that is why, for me, this forum is one of those forums and gathering that Nigeria should always lead, and they should be focal in what they are looking for. Nigeria should let the world know that things are changing. Very soon, we do not want generator in Nigeria again. We don't want generator set using fossil fuel and all that. We want to renew it.
When you say very soon, do you have a particular projection?
Yes, I'm talking about solar. I'm talking about solar. You know, it has been reducing.
And how feasible do you think this is?
It has been reducing. No, it has been reducing through the effort of the global advocacy to reduce fossil fuel and the use of fossil fuel because of climate change, ozone layers, and the effect of this green gas powerhouse, how it affects the safety of the next generation. So the entire world, even when they went for COP28, the major focus has been renewable energy, climate change, renewable energy. So the vice president should be vocal in his meetings and engagement to attract only the right businesses to Africa, to Nigeria.
Now, the position on this attendance of the World Economic Summit, much like you said, would highlight the opportunity for us to play a role in these strategic innovations and interventions. But coming from a position where Nigeria has been accused over the years of always attending and being urged to instead be an active member and play roles, much like his intention to join the BRICS Committee of Nations, do you think that shifting from an attendee position to a member should be more of the focus going into the coming years?
Definitely, you have said it all. You know, over time, Nigeria have always been there to look to be attendees, like you rightly put it, and that has not do us a major good. Though we have participated, we've attended, but what are we bringing back? It's not about taking entourage to foreign international trips and meetings, summit, treaties, and it's about what do we stand to benefit. Now, being a speaker in one of the panel and also leading in some areas, I believe that he'll be able to not just look at how he can attract, he can also advocate for this forgiveness of loans, you know, and also look at how they can strategically position Nigeria to benefit from global wealth. Nigerians and Africa have not actually been benefiting from global wealth. Nigeria, Africa have only get only few percentage of the global wealth. This wealth does not capture or includes Africans, do not capture and include Nigeria. So when we say World Economic Forum, we are looking at discussing issues that touch about the world, the wealth of this world, and how do we as a nation tap into that wealth. Yes, there is wealth in this world. There is so many things. We talk about industrialization, we talk about technology, we talk about science and development, we talk about businesses, manufacturing. Africa have always been the dumping site. I said it earlier, where the industrialized world, they hold on to their technology. The only thing they give to Africa and Nigeria is their finished products. But today, we need to begin to look at a new dynamics where we can now advocate that truly, if you want to capture Africa, you want to capture Nigeria in this world economy, you want Africa to be included, we shouldn't just be the market. Africa should also be the production site. Africa should also be leading. You can pick like 4 or 5 countries in Africa. If you cannot industrialize the entire Africa, you can pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 countries in Africa where you begin to do a strong campaign for industrialization.
Now that could serve as a starting point for that campaign.
Change the dynamic of the wealth of the world.
Well, certainly, Patriot Desmond. Let's see if we can move on to other issues now locally. The vice president is already out there, and fingers crossed, we're hoping that his visit yields great returns for Nigeria. 774 local government councils across the country have so far, received their administrative and financial autonomy, from the federal government. And these councils are set to open dedicated accounts, with the CBN, as the NFIU is set to monitor the spendings across the 774 local government council areas. This is also coming off the back of recent statements by the AGF, warning the local government council chairman not to meddle, or siphon government funds that have been allocated to them straight from the federal government. What should we be expecting from this development? Is this good news for LGAs across the country?
Shijuke, this is not a news. It is not new. We've been battling with this since almost middle of last year, when Supreme Court made that ultimate pronouncement of giving autonomy to local government, separating the account that used to be concurrent between the local government and the state governor. But today, the federal government, through the Attorney General of the Federation, made appeal that there has to be what they call dividend of government to the people, and that should be our focus. How do we achieve that dividend of government should be our focus? We should not be carried away by the mere saying that if you do not go into election, and then when governors now conduct election, you now justify that we'll have good governance. No, we should strengthen the monitoring of the expenses of this local government. We should advocate for more inclusivity of civil society in local government. We should involve the EFCC, ICPC strongly. They should be empowered to monitor the affairs of the local government. Even if they are empowered, the people who will eventually ensure that the government actually give the dividend of government to the people is the people. There has to be awareness, there has to be education, there has to be robust sensitization campaign.
I totally agree with you that this form of orientation to get the people to buy in is needed.
Yes. They need to even understand what is happening. People, let me tell you, at the grassroots right now, is the elites that actually understand that something is going to happen within the covers of the local government purse. But the local people still don't understand their role.
Do you think this is because of a lack of need assessments? Because if money is supposed to be disbursed directly,
it is not even about need assessment.
So how do they now follow the money? Because the truth about it is, much like you said, the elites are more informed about the Supreme Court ruling. But the challenge now is, even when the funds are disbursed directly to the council accounts, the people can't even follow the money.
You see, immediately after that pronouncement from the Supreme Court, even before the elections, I was expecting certain advocacy.
By who?
Advocacy by the people, as in by stakeholders, politicians, opposition. I was expecting that at the grassroots level, there will be some level of symposium. There will be a level of town hall meeting that they need to even change.
Is this to sensitize people with regards to what the local government autonomy really is?
Yes, thank you. That is one.
But say the challenge here is becoming a norm, and much like people say this. Hold on, let me say it this way: it's becoming a challenge because when it comes to accountability,
yes,
even with the local government chairman who campaign and promise their constituents, the local government areas, what they would do, when they come into office, they renege on those promises, and the people can't even hold them accountable. It now needs some governors to go around playing the role of reminding them or checking that the projects are being carried out. That's what I'm asking, because don't forget,
for me personally, I feel like the federal government has not done enough, in the sense that, you know, the role that the governors plays when it comes to local government, conducting local government elections. Have you seen, even Wike, upon how powerful he is as a leader in the state and in Abuja, during the local government election in River State, his party lost woefully to the politicking of how powerful the state governor can be when it comes to conducting local government elections. In Lagos State today, no matter how big the opposition can be, soon the Lagos State too, they are going into election soonest, and you're going to see that Lagos State APC is going to sweep all the local governments. I'm not saying this. Something happened in Ondo State just 2 days ago on the 18th, on Saturday, just 2 days ago. And do you know that out of the 18 local governments, 16 immediately were declared APC?
But the PDP Ondo said that they were pulling out of the
They didn't pull out.
The
Eventually, they went into the election. Some days to the election, they prepared the campaign and they went into the election.
Do you think that this
See, let me tell you, you will always have that politics, and that is the fundamental problem. Nigerians needs to understand that the ruling by the Supreme Court is one step ahead, but another thing is to ensure the smooth running of election that will produce what they call fairness, credibility, and give everybody the sense level playing ground. Level playing ground, you cannot get it from state government. And that's why we need an independent, a complete independent body to conduct local government elections. In the event where the state governor, do you know that INEC is more or less like an observer in this election?
Now the state independent electoral commissions
are fully in charge. And that is where I am only forcing
so are you advocating judgment. Are you advocating for yet another body in the local government level?
That needs to be done.
Because INEC oversees general elections across the country. SEC oversees state elections, local government elections. When you say you want an independent body now, what other body do you think could be created, and what exactly will they be overseeing?
Now, thank you so much. There are 3 things that we need to do to get it right at the local government level. First of all is the local government financial autonomy, which has been done. Then number 2 is the overstretching influence of governors determining
who becomes local government chairman.
The state
Algon chairman?
No.
Rec.
The state rec. Because they appoint, just like the federal government appoints. Yeah. They also have the power to appoint who oversees the election. And another thing that we need, the second thing, which is the election matters, needs to be something that will give every party level playing ground. Level playing ground. There should be a committee. There should be an agency set up by the government, and it's going to be impartial. That agency will be impartial when there is any grievances, when there is any misconduct by this electoral umpire. Then these people can go there to seek redress and they can get justice. Not court this time around. Even the process, they can go there swiftly to complain that this process, my name is not captured on the ballot. You know, do you know how many state, local government and ward chairmen today, that ward councillors and that complain that their names is not captured, their party logo is not captured? All those irregularities, we should have an agency that can, once you perceive that there's going to be such irregularities and you complain and it was investigated, they can come in and take charge of the election. That will make this SEC sit up. Yeah. Then finally, it's about the people. People should be fully involved in local government. People should get involved in the governance of local government. People are not really involved. If people can be involved, I tell you, they can put the chairman in check. A lot of people do not even understand the role of local government because over years, the local government have lost that birthright of giving to the people. So people do not even know that local government chairman can actually do certain things to them.
Certain projects
to them. So there has to be an advocacy. In short, maybe we'll set in now the Nigerian Nexus. Maybe we need to start doing town hall meeting to give people the orientation, the skills on how they can monitor the money, how they can organize themselves to ask critical questions from their representative, either the councillors of the ward and their local government chairman. Nigerians must be involved to ensure that there's dividend of governance to the people.
Now, still on this issue, let me just highlight another prominent fact that was captured in the report, that the national president of Argon, Bello Lawan Yedaki, speaking to our colleagues, journalists, highlighted a bureaucratic delay even in this process, that whilst Argon is looking forward to the opening of this accounts with the CBN, that the federal government is yet to issue directives with the critical criteria needed to facilitate this process. Does this somewhat worry you that despite the provisions and ruling of the Supreme Court, when it comes to bureaucratic bottlenecks, this issue continues to linger on even as much as it's very important and urgent?
When you say federal government is too big, let's focus on the Ministry of Special Duties, which is responsible for local government and intergovernmental affairs. You see, that ministry, we have thousands of people that get government salaries. What is their function? Why do we have to have bottlenecks? It's because people are not doing what they're supposed to do, and nobody is checking. You see, some of these bottlenecks you see that people complain about, this bureaucracy and all that, is not because anybody is witch hunting anybody. It's not because some people do not want it to work, but because nobody actually charge this civil servant to do what they are meant to do. Now you're talking about the criteria. Is it a big deal to set it up a criteria? There should be a tripartite meeting between the federal government, Ministry of Special Duties, the Accountant General Office, and the local government to know what they want to be captured in the requirement. If there is a need for induction, training, and all that on how to go about, they should have done that long ago, since last year. Until now, Argon Shaman is still complaining. That is to tell you that some of the things you see in Nigeria is the more you look, the less you see. The sincerity is not there to actually effect positive change. Some of the things that you see that the president or some of these things ruling provides is just political, is for political interest. It's for political gains, not for the gains of the people. You know, the president has scored the points, but scoring the point, has it really effected any positive change? No, not yet. Just like the same thing that happened with the issue of what? Food that were supposed to be imported into this country to cushion the effect of hardship and hunger in the country and to ensure that there is food security. Do you know that over 6 months that the federal government have made this pronouncement, we are yet to see any major importation to that effect? Now, nobody is being questioned. The federal government has not issued an apology. You know, these are some of the things that we need to be serious about as a government and as a people. And do you know that our people always focus on object of issue instead of focusing on the main issue itself in order to get results? We can easily be dissuaded. Nigerians can easily be carried away. We are too gullible. We are only focusing on trending issues, whereas we are supposed to follow what the government have said, even the campaign promises.
Follow the policy and policy implementation.
Let me even start with the campaign promises. We don't need to care about what happens in governance. What we should focus our attention on is that this man has said he's going to do the X, Z, and Y before he gets into the government. Now that he has gotten the mantle of leadership and has been elected, we should now take it with him one step at a time. You said you're going to do this. Let's follow him to ensure that he does that. This next, just like the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he said he's going to create 50 million jobs. Does it look now that the government of APC in the next 2 years can create the 50 million jobs that they have promised? Nigerians should be
able to hold leaders accountable.
Nigerians should be responsible enough to remind leaders of their promises. Nigeria should not be a cruise country where politicians will catch cruise with the lives of many. Nigerian people should be serious. The leaders of this country can easily take Nigerians on a ride, can take them for granted because the people themselves, they are complacent, they are not serious, they are very lazy. Just like the ex-president said, lazy Nigerian youth. The people who are supposed to be following, when they say somebody is lazy, it's about mental, I think it's about mental laziness. It's not about physical laziness. Sometimes you can be hardworking. Hardworking in the sense that you carry pong, you carry blocks, you carry cement. That is, to you, hardworking. But the real hard work you're supposed to do is to think about what you want to do with your life, get the necessary skills, pay the price to get the necessary, be patient enough to learn through the process. That is where the laziness comes in. Now, as political students, we have a lot of political science students. We have a lot of civil society organizations, civil rights organizations, human rights lawyers, and the rest of them. Why not have a strong front? A strong front that can ensure that Nigerians are continually reminded about government promises, so they can use this as a yardstick to judge at the end of their tenure if they have performed well or not. Because politicians will always come with problems. Some people said APC came into power, and the first thing they did was to create problem, and they spent the rest of the 4 years to start solving the problem they created. It's because the Nigerian people are not interested in whether you have problem or not. You see the promises you've made to the people. As you are solving this problem you created, you must, as a matter of threat, must give us, and you must fulfill your promise to the people. So that is how now, to achieve that, let's forget about the national government. We'll now go back to the local government. If the local government chairman, if the councillors in your ward, because you can meet them, you can see them, you can interact with them. They do not have the DSS. They do not have the immunity to protect them from you. They are just visible. You can ask them, Mr. Suleiman, you promised that you're going to do this. What is your reason for not doing it after 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years of your election?
Accountability.
So, accountability. So you can understand even the reason, because there might be genuine reasons. But the real challenge now is that Nigerians don't ask the right questions. That is where I am now putting it to the Nigerian people that truly I want to agree with the position of the ex-president of the country, Muhammadu Buhari, that many Nigerians are really lazy.
Well, talking about accountability, Patriot Desmond, the NLC is yet again holding the federal government accountable over the recent increase in petrol pump price. Also bemoaning likely food crisis across the country. Now, this is also coming off the back of Dangote Refinery stating that the reason for the increase in the petrol pump price is due to a rise in the global market trend. What are your reactions to this? And are we seeing a situation of taking 1 step forward and 2 steps backward with regards to petrol in the country?
You see, let me tell you, to be sincere, as long as we are following this model of modeling the rise and fall of the global market as regard petroleum, we cannot completely overcome that issue. It will be a case of 1 step ahead, 3 steps or 5 steps backward, because there has been some conspiracies that have been detected against Nigeria by the international being, which I don't know the particular person. But I want to tell you that in as much as our destiny is in the hands of this international, the so-called international, even Dangote today has joined the politics. He has told us today that though he is not happy to sell fuel to us at that increased rate, but he has no choice because of what? The cost of crude has increased at the international market.
Now,
what is my business? What is my business? What I'm asking myself now as a country is that, as a citizen of Nigeria, what is my business with international market? I am not in an international environment.
Don't you think
I'm in my local,
about
I'm
FX?
my local. I'm talking not for FS, because now it is naira for crude policy.
So we have no business. We have no business with FX.
We don't even have business with FS, but it is now for Dangote to tell us that the crude, what is the percentage of crude that is sourcing from Nigeria and from outside Nigeria? Maybe that can justify his position, because I saw some politics in what they played. What is that politics? There have been about 12% increment in the cost of crude. Before it was around 70 naira, $70 per barrel, and now it is $82 per barrel. Now, the increment that Dangote put on his crude is on petroleum is just 5%, not the complete 12% increment. Does it mean that he's getting 7% of its crude, 70%, that is 70% of its crude from Nigeria and 30% from outside Nigeria. You should let us know, because you cannot wake up because of international market and you come up with a new pricing template. What is the business of Nigeria that has been blessed with refinery, that has been blessed with the machineries, that have been blessed with the technology, and even blessed with the raw material? And Dangote told us that the major raw material in the production of petrol is the crude
that is gotten here.
That is gotten
So
here.
we
So
technically,
tell us.
we technically have no business
tell us,
aligning our market with international trends.
And let me tell you, the international markets, the pricing in the market will not affect their market. You know why?
Why?
Because they have what they call reserves. What they get, they don't sell it immediately. It is the reserve. What the new product, they're putting it in their reserve. So the people of this country will not feel the pains of the fluctuation in the international market. But in Nigeria, when even it happens in our local market now, when somebody hear that the price of dollar is 1,700, immediately, without even approaching the market or waiting to see whether the price will come down before it goes to the new market, it will just increase the price of its commodity. These are some of the things we do.
A commodity that was bought for less than what is selling
and
now.
it should have waited until when it gets to the market to see whether the price will go, because market is not static, it is dynamic.
So it just creates this ripple effect all the way down to the
that is
common
why
man.
we are not getting it right in this country. We are just creating unnecessary tension, unnecessary fears, unnecessary problem for ourselves. And once you create this problem, it takes even greater or more effort in order for you to correct them.
Patriot,
and that's why we should not allow them in the first instance.
Patriot, you raised a very critical and important basis for this conversation, first off, which is the Naira for crude deal. Now, bringing that to the context of what the fuel price would do to our food security index in the country is also correlating to our projections as embedded in the 2025 budget. Now, the budget projections are at $75 per barrel for crude. Do you think that our approach entirely from the planning basis, which is our budget, needs to also reflect this Naira for crude deal if we are to come anywhere away from the subjections of international interests and influences as it concerns crude?
Whether you like it or not, it is not about the constitution. It's not about the appropriation. It's not about what is captured. Government can change their policy overnight. In short, who expected in 2023 that subsidy will leave the way and manner it left?
It left.
So government is in charge. That's why it is good to pray for good government.
So why I'm asking is, what does it do for private comments when you hear Dangote assuring Nigerians? Because, like you said, the policy can change at any time.
At any time.
And who is to say that this assurance will have any...
Let me even tell you, at every point in time, there should be stakeholder engagement for any decision the government wants to take.
But we say left to the NNPCL. Today there's a price template, tomorrow there's another.
The government should not be allowed to just wake up overnight and take certain...
Much like the declaration the president made on the day he was inaugurated.
People should check the government, because even the government are trying to experiment things with people's life. You are trying to do experiment with the real job. Do you get what? It will cause catastrophe. The government of Nigerians, most times, they do not even know the end from the beginning. And the essence of research, the essence of knowledge, is to have a little bit peep into the result of your actions. The federal government of Nigeria in the last 20 years have been taking action without understanding the implications or the consequences. And that was what has affected our economy badly. Yes, we hear that they have technocrats in a particular government. At the end of the day, they're messing up big time.
Do
you know why? Do you know why?
Yeah, carry on.
The reason because government, they are trying to play games. You know, when they come with policies, when they come with good intention, what is paramount to them in their heart is to steal from the people. So they are now playing the game of when they see an opportunity or openings, they will take it up. Now look at, let me now go back to the issue of crude price increase and decrease. Do you know that they will peg the budget at maybe, for example, $70 per barrel?
Yeah.
Now, what happened to the excesses? You don't get
Excess
the point.
crude.
Excess from the excess when there is increase
Yeah.
and when there is excess, what happens? You see that most times it is diverted
By the cabals.
by the government. Don't use cabal.
No, by the
when you say
cabals.
cabals, when you say cabals,
you have mentioned.
Let me tell you,
cabals in the
the
NNPCL
cabals,
several times here. So when I use cabals, I'm not saying cabals from my own perspective. I'm just reiterating your own term that you have used on certain elements within the federal government, within the NNPCL, who are diverting these excess funds.
There has never been a time that I was categorically said that cabals are responsible. I said we are all complacent in this. I mentioned from the Minister of Petroleum, which is the President, down to the Minister of State, down to some every other persons. You cannot tell
including the GCO.
Everybody is involved. It's like a cartel. It's like a systematic thing.
I just have one question, Patriot Desmond, with regards to this declaration by Dangote Refinery assuring Nigerians of a uniform pricing across the country. If Dangote Refinery can achieve that, what is stopping NNPCL from having a uniform pricing across the country? And why are we having different prices in Lagos and Maiduguri,
it is easy.
Kano,
okay, let me
and
just
Benue?
Yes, it is easy. You know what Dangote is doing, maybe for the Nigerians that do not understand. Dangote is taking responsibility for logistics, removing whether it is close or far. And that is why they have this strategic partnership with certain filling stations like MRS and the rest of them. Now, what are they doing? In a layman term, let the people understand that. Now, if they give you crude, Dangote now come in for the excesses in the transportation from the profits they are making. Now, NNPC will not do that because even the profit they are making, they are not declaring it to the people. NNPC should even be selling their crude cheaper than what Dangote is selling. Yes, to be fair to NNPC.
Break that down.
To be fair to NNPC, in the last few weeks, I noticed something. I noticed that NNPC actually sold their petroleum lesser than Dangote. NNPC was selling for 930. Why Dangote is selling for 935. So NNPC, in some people, I think NNPC too, they need to let us know who is original NNPC and who is franchise. And they should tell us what arrangement they have with the franchising NNPC.
Because it appears there are a lot of franchises that are soiling the name
I was
of
at
NNPCL
I was at Abuja last week before this new code price, and I got the fuel for 930. I got to Akure and I was buying it for 960, the same NNPC. So I don't know the difference between that NNPC of Lagos and NNPC of Akure, and likewise some other places in Abuja.
Yet they all bear the same name.
And now, and yet they bear the same name. So NNPC should tell us who is the real NNPC and the franchised NNPC, so that when we go there, we will understand that at any point in time, we get it here, we get it at the official rate. And then this NNPDPR should be fully involved in monitoring of these activities. In the last few days or months that Dangote has fully taken over this petrol business and market, you see that the role and the actions of this NNPDR has reduced against before, when marketers are fully involved in the importation of crude. You see that they are involved in the price because of the license and all that, and the job is more juicier that time than now. So because the juice has reduced, the energy also have reduced from them. I want to call on them right now to go back into the field to ensure that there is compliance in the price template of this crude. People sell whatever they like, and it shouldn't be like that. Government makes effort. NNPC also should make. Dangote is making great effort to ensure that it covers the logistics. It's business. NNPCL, if they cannot truly manage the business, they should look for people that can manage the business. You understand? We have a lot of Nigerians that can manage that limited, to ensure that the proceeds that is made from this crude and petrol, they can use it to cover. Now, it is not necessary that the government is paying subsidy. Let's not, because now it's as if Dangote is paying subsidy. If you want to use it, if we want to use the government language, if it is government that is Dangote now, the government will say we are paying subsidy. Dangote can say today that it's paying subsidy, but it's not paying subsidy, it's just covering for logistics. And this is what federal government have been doing in the past, that they have been taking so much money from the covers because they assist in the logistic transport support so that the Nigerian people can get the crude at a certain rate.
At a certain rate, yeah.
At a certain rate. And that is what Dangote is doing now.
Now, Patriot Desmond, we have just
without
about...
collecting loan. Dangote is paying subsidy now without taking foreign loans. He's paying subsidy from the gains he's making from his business. Right. So why not NNPCL emulate Dangote? Cover the logistics so that Nigerians can get this fuel 900 everywhere. The excess profit you're making, Nigeria is making more money now. Nigeria as a government is making so much money since the removal of
subsidy.
And state, funny enough, states now they are getting so much money. Even some states that you do not believe can do some great projects today because of the excess of money that is now being distributed to them by FARC. They are now doing some
about the excess money from the angle of its true value.
State is making so much money now.
In line with the naira devaluation.
The money is too much.
Not forgetting that
the kind of money that go to your state, National Joke, you'll not believe it.
There's naira devaluation. Whilst the figure in naira might increase, its actual value in terms of its global competitiveness might not be the same. No. It's an important factor to remember.
Yeah, it is, and it is one side. But let me tell you, the kind of money I am telling you now, you know, most times they give them certain money in dollars. They calculate the value of money, what they are giving them in dollars, and they change it because it is dollar. But
they will still spend it in naira.
They will still spend it in naira. The kind of money they are getting now. Look at Enugu State Governor. When Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu visited there to execute, to commission some project, he said the kind of money that is being released to them, that there is no state governor under any guise shouldn't be delivering giant stride project to the people of their state. So there's so much money in the country now. The Nigerian people should feel the pulse. Nigerians should feel the effect of that money. It should be a ripple effect, not just certain class of the society is benefiting from this excess money. Nigerians that are also paying the price of increased VAT and doing the normal job. And now, let me tell you, I said federal government, they're always reaping where they don't sow. And that ideology is what is affecting the growth of this country. From resource control down to tax, federal government is always looking for the easy way to make wealth. Instead of innovative, how much as federal government, every government should focus on how much more wealth am I creating? First, so not about how many tasks I'm generating. I'm not talking about internally generated revenue. You are generating revenue from the wealth that has been created by your predecessor. I am now saying that the only true way that Nigeria can get it right is that when the state government comes in, its focus should be that it's creating new wealth. It's creating new money.
New ways of generating that
new
idea.
Money is even creating, then you now start generating it. First of all, yes, your first 1 year or 2 years of government, allow people to flow, but make sure you create more. Then the third year, make sure you start collecting tax, and start, muzzling everywhere up to ensure that there is evenly distribution of this weight, and there is the money comes in and goes out of the economy, so that you can direct what priority project you're doing with the state and what kind of development you are bringing to the state. That's fine. But what I'm saying is that you cannot just come in as a government. For example, the APC government of 2023 to date, they just came into the government. The next thing is they want to start muzzling money. They want to start cutting money. They want to start increasing tax. They want to start making money from the people. What have you done as a government to generate the wealth? And it is only when you have that kind of mentality, you'll not be creating problems while trying to solve problems.
Well, I think it's a fine place to leave it this morning. Quite intense on the program. Must thank you, Patriot, for taking our time to grace the show.
Thank you so much, Ijoke and Bito, for having me this morning.
Always a pleasure.